Sham is an otherwise unremarkable-looking Middle Eastern restaurant. There's a menu on the wall showing pixelated images of falafel and kibbeh. A hunk of doner meat rotates slowly by the window. But the restaurant has become a place for new arrivals from Syria to congregate. The name feels like home, says Mahmoud, a warm and chatty 28-year-old. It introduces Berlin, away from your family and friends. Mahmoud is a Syrian of Palestinian heritage who fled the war in Aleppo in 2014 after being imprisoned and tortured by government forces. He is now a guide with Querstatii, a group organizing tours of Berlin, led by refugees. The tours use the context of Berlin's urban landscape to explain to tourists and locals alike the experience of being a refugee in Germany. Querstatii, which now has 8 guides, was the second refugee tour to crop up in Berlin as the city reacted to the mass influx of migrants that began 2 years ago. Refugee Voices was co-founded in early 2015 by Lorna Cannon, a British tour guide living in Berlin, and her 2 friends, both refugees who now volunteer as guides. The tours are a way for people to meet somebody who is experiencing this life as a refugee, and understand what that means, Cannon says. The idea is catching on. Refugee Voices has since launched a tour in Copenhagen, run by an Eritrean woman and an Iraqi Kurd, and there are plans to spread to London and Paris in early 2018. It is volunteer-based and free. Querstatii's concept is similar, but it pays guides a wage of €200 a month and charges €13 per tour. The cobbled streets of Ucol, one of Berlin's most diverse districts, hold a special significance for Mahmoud. When you talk about the refugee crisis, then you have to talk about meeting points for these people, he says. There are always difficulties regarding the procedures and the linguistic barriers when you first arrive. So you have to find a person or place who can help you. In Afdi areas, some refugees are afraid to leave the shelter after dark or be visibly identifiable as a Muslim. For him, that was Ucol. More than 40% of the neighborhood's residents have an immigrant background, and it is one of most energetic areas in Berlin, he says. It's the most demanded area for living, simply because it's full of foreigners. If you are a migrant or come from outside of Berlin, you can find comfort here. Nearby Soili is a large thoroughfare bustling with loud shoppers and the hum of traffic. The street, once bisected by the Berlin Wall, now represents a different kind of segregation. Home to Lebanese immigrants in the 1970s, Soili has become a hub for the city's Middle Eastern communities, and is known locally as Arab Street. This is the meeting point for all refugees and Arabs in the city. It makes them feel at home, says Mahmoud. In Café Saba, just off the main road, Mahmoud calls for tea and coffee and jokes with the staff in Arabic. I ask if he knows them. Can you believe that we're related? He's my cousin, he laughs. Arabs are overly sociable. That person I got to know is the grandson of the cousin of my grandmother,